Threat neutralized.
Bitch owed me money.
As much of a joke as they are now, 20 years ago, this logo meant you were getting something good. Well, usually. But when that logo went along with the Tom Clancy name, it was time to print some money. If I put it a little crudely, Ghost Recon was always the shit and way ahead of its time. And if you know anything about this channel, you know how much of a fanboy I am of Splinter Cell. But one of my fondest, earliest gaming memories is getting up extra early before school to play the original Rainbow Six with my brother. That magical pitch black Michigan winter sky outside, huddled around the warm fuzz of the TV. And boy, I sucked at that game. I think I was a little too young to understand the more hardcore simulation style of Rainbow. I was used to GoldenEye and Turok, games where I could run around spraying bullets and picking up health. I wasn't used to a game where a complacent movement or a single bullet could end a level. So I was bad at it, but I loved that game. Cut to 2003. When Rainbow Six 3 came out, I was on it like a bonnet. Every day after school, I played this game. Good times. I took Rainbow Six 3 online, and I proceeded to lose a mountain of sleep over the next few months. I remember creating a popular custom paintball mode. I had a ton of laughs and had a ton of arguments. Let's just say there were no chat bans in those days. Now, if you could be so kind as to hit the like button on this video, I will gladly call you some of those words. Meet me at Pizza Planet, I'll buy you an alien slime, we'll talk. I did play Rainbow 4, known as Lockdown, and this is when Rainbow started to get a little more silly.
Watch your step, people! Damn, it's hot.
Almost as hot as you.
I really like playing Lockdown. Even now, it's smooth and fun, but the series needed a little shakeup. I was hoping for something a little more gritty and threatening. You have to remember, this is when we, as a collective culture, started to crave more intensity in our entertainment, and the gritty, realistic thing in our favorite franchises just started to emerge. And with next-generation consoles on the horizon, gaming was sure to follow. Well, in 2006, we got just that, and it had neon too.
Hey, why are we giving a shit about some illegal immigrants?
Following.
Because these people...
The story begins in Mexico, in a border town. You play as Rainbow operator Logan Keller, who almost has the most generic name in gaming history. Stay tuned for the victors of that contest. You and your buddies, Gabriel and Khan, are searching for the game's big bad, Irina Morales. She's bad because she's bad. Yeah, alright. So the story in Vegas is pretty much whatever. It's about as deep as a puddle and just as wide. But to be fair, puddles are fun to splash in, so... Anyway, basically, your team gets ambushed, Khan and Gabe are abducted, Irina gets away, and it's up to Logan Keller to battle across Las Vegas with his new team, Jung and Michael. We follow the path of bad guys, seeking to rescue Khan and Gabe. It's all very cheesy, very simple. Irina will periodically appear, talk some trash, look menacing, etc. She makes a fairly dramatic first impression, but she's largely irrelevant throughout. Ubisoft tries to add some emotional weight when, spoilers, your teammate Khan gets KIA when you find him. But like, you've had no relationship with this guy really. He's not a recurring character from 3 or Black Arrow, just some dude you fought with in Mexico for a few minutes. As is your other teammate, Gabe. Spoilers, Gabe was in cahoots with Irina the whole time. Oh heavens no, not Gabe, not that guy. Again, so what? So it turns out the bad guys attacked Las Vegas to distract the military and the feds from their true objective, which was to detonate a micro-pulse bomb and launch a micro-pulse missile from the Hoover Dam. Sorry, the legally distinct Nevada Dam. And at the end, Gabe gets away and we get some sequel bait. So that's essentially all there is to the plot. I know it's 20 years old and past the fixing phase, but humor me. It would have been better if one of the teammates you had been playing with the whole time turned on you. Like, if Michael ended up being a double agent, I'd have been like, whoa, Michael, why, dude? Anyway, I wanted to discuss the weakest aspect first. The story is not the reason to play this game. Thankfully, everything else is as pretty as a titty on a kitty in a Mississippi city. Woo!
Shit, I got him into this mess. I should be the one getting him out of it.
This flyover of the Vegas Strip encapsulates everything I love about this game. Okay, yeah, the graphics have aged. I mean, it's been 20 years, so of course they have, but it's never been about photorealism. It's about the dichotomy between the majesty of this man-made neon jungle and the violence on the streets therein. You're taking in this incredible human achievement from high above in relative peace. You can practically feel the cool desert air. And then go! You fast rope right into the skill that people have been practicing since people were people, the application of violence. The choice to take Rainbow Six to Vegas was brilliant, and the technology of the day was just right. It wasn't the best looking game on the 360 even when it came out, but the sensation of the Vegas Strip was exhilarating, and it still is. Battling under the canopy over Fremont Street is still drop-dead gorgeous to this day, and again, I love the juxtaposition between the glory of human achievement in art and technology while still canoeing heads with your rifle like an ape. I'm sure this would have looked pretty good on the original Xbox, but the extra horsepower of the 360 gave Ubisoft the tools to bring their vision to life, and this is back when console generations were still a very noticeable jump in power. Despite looking a little smeared these days, the Strip is still lovely, though I had all but forgotten about the in-game adverts. If you're too young to remember the Axe body spray craze, well, you missed your high school smelling like a Persian nightclub, so good for you. But this garbage was everywhere, dude. And I get that some people detest the in-game ads, I get it. But here's the thing, is it a bit obnoxious and blatant? Yes, but like, Las Vegas is obnoxious and blatant. You would see silly adverts like this all over the place. And is it perhaps a little goofy that the majority of vehicles around here are a Dodge?
This is a Dodge!
Yes, of course it is. However, I always thought it added to the immersion just a little bit, like I'm taking cover behind a Dodge Ram, not a reasonable facsimile. Now, if it came with an angry dude sporting a Monster Energy hat packing a Tennis, it may as well be real life. But as nice as it is to fight down the strip, the battles inside the various casinos is the good stuff. Firstly, casinos are disgusting places, usually loaded with parasitic amoeba. So, unloading magazine after magazine, tossing grenades inside of one of these shrines to human desperation felt oddly cathartic. It's perfect for a video game. Colorful, lively, and full of natural cover points. The sound of ching-a-ling clashing with bang-bang is fantastic, and the particle effects enhance everything. Stacks of poker chips explode into plastic confetti, sparks fly off of metal, coins burst out of slot machines, all good stuff. And the choice to use ragdolls for enemy NPCs was a great decision. Punching holes in the bad guys and watching them fall over, or seeing them flailing across the screen after an explosion is silly and great, and it helps make the combat a whole lot of fun. If you're old enough to remember it, the early Unreal Engine 3 look is highly nostalgic. That soft bloom, especially with all the neon, gives me a big bang of BioShock, though that was technically a modified Unreal Engine 2. I'm all about this Chinese casino atmosphere. I can't help but love the blend of gaudy Americana excess with traditional Chinese decor. #1 casino, all casinos. And I'm such a massive sucker for theater levels in video games, so this one got me good, partner. The opera in Hitman Blood Money, the Magician's Place in Condemned 2, the $1 Million Cinema in Duke 3D. I love them, and Vegas is right there in the mix. That bellowing, dramatic score from Plasmatech, the large gargoyle statues watching the action from high above, and that gorgeous red-black color scheme with tasteful gold trim. Beaut. I also appreciate all the little visual accoutrements, like the thermal vision. Not only is it practical during gameplay, allowing you to see through smoke, but it looks sick when you see heat signatures from bullets screaming into the deep blue void. Then there's the feeling of catching some fresh air on a fancy terrace. That orange-purple evening skybox. And despite the combat, it's oddly relaxing after having been basically stuffed into a casino for several minutes prior. And hey, look who it is. We miss you, old boy. Come back soon. It makes sense to have Fisher here, given that Vegas was also made by Ubisoft Montreal. Hey, who directed this thing anyway? Oh, Jesus. Don't make me celebrate this French dork. Alright, you win this round. Special mention goes to the glass effects, which felt chunky and thick when shattered. Even 20 years on, this looks good, and it adds to the real feel of the environment. But it's not all roses, I fear. The neon of Vegas does a lot of heavy lifting to hide the dated visuals, but environments like Mexico and the Dam are really ugly. Particles, animations, and performance all carry over, of course, but these areas do not hold up. The ravages of time, I suppose. The scale at the dam is pretty damn good. Standing at the base of this thing is pretty neat for a second, but again, everything else is so dull. Brown and gray all over the place, and the level design is pretty plain, with the gameplay loop just starting to wear thin. One thing that will never age, however, is the incredibly crisp audio design.
What's happening? GPS says Khan and Gabe left the tunnel 5 minutes ago.
Look! She knew we were coming, Joe. Irina knows who we are.
What? How?
We got a goddamn leak. Tell 6.
Out front, the acting is cheesy Saturday morning stuff at the best of times, but everything else is top tier. High-fidelity audio is a first-person shooter make or break for me, and I always think back to games like Battlefield Bad Company, Black, and Rainbow Six Vegas when reminiscing on some of the best. Just listen to the power of a single Kalashnikov. Like a real AK, this is the sound of thunder. Even sound effects that would typically come from a generic sound library, like loading shotgun shells, feel thick and immersive. You can hear the plastic slipping into the metal tube, and these are just a few examples. But obviously when you're in an actual gunfight, it's the cacophony of 5 to 7 rifles kicking off, the whine of a flashbang, and the shimmer of shattering glass. It's so rich and full, and a testament to how much quality audio design contributes to a game's lasting impact. Most of the music is fairly generic blockbuster movie stuff, but a few of the prominent tracks during gameplay are stellar. This fast-paced arpeggio is one of my absolute favorites, and I got a huge rush of nostalgia when it kicked in. This is the perfect type of music for a game like Vegas. Pulsing, but without being obnoxious. I think that like heavy metal or aggressive DMB would have killed the mood. Also, I love the chatter from your team during battle. Hearing your buddy shout, "Hole in one," when you get a headshot is darkly comedic, but it also helps the player, letting you know you just got the guy you were aiming at. Audio working in concert with gameplay is peak game design. Speaking of which, Rainbow Six Vegas has my favorite first-person mechanic ever, which is the transition into third person when taking cover. I'll never forget just how good this felt in 2006, and it hasn't aged a day. Right mouse button into cover with left mouse to shoot makes such perfect sense. I remember thinking, well, this'll definitely be the standard going forward because it was so good. But with the exception of Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, very few games adopted this system. Oddly, the 360 PS3 version of Quantum of Solace did this, but that game was, not Rainbow Six Vegas. Anyway, it's a shame that this first to third person hybrid system isn't really a thing anymore, because frankly, it's fucking awesome. I really like how most levels are laid out. You continually drive towards a single destination, but there are often several pathways to use as flanking routes. Using the tactical map to plot out a quick path on the fly feels like a streamlined version of the pre-mission route planning from the original Rainbow. Now, if you're a fan of hardcore milsim games, this will probably be a little simple, and I know a lot of people miss the old school pre-mission planning, but this feels just right to me. Myself and a few teammates, a few basic commands, and an on-the-fly tac map. Perfect. Oh, and speaking of commands, you can command your team to go loud, weapons free, or to be more stealthy, only returning fire when fired upon. The cool thing is, when you instruct them to stack on a door, their breaching options will reflect that command, with appropriate color coding. If they're on attack mode, they do an explosive breach, or throw a grenade into the room. If they're on tactical mode, they can smoke or flash a room on breach. It's not super complicated, but you need to use your head. If you're talking about hostage rescue, for instance, a frag grenade might spoil the good time, right? Additionally, you can snake the cam under the door to determine your style of breach, as well as tagging a few priority enemies for Michael and Jung to shoot for. This system strikes an excellent balance between tactical realism and video game fantasy. Love it. And any FPS that allows me to customize my weapon in real time gets the stamp of approval. Granted, this was in 2006, so comparing this to like a modern Battlefield game makes Vegas look pretty elementary by comparison, but adjusting your rate of fire or attaching a suppressor is smooth and easy, and the cool part is, back to team commands, is that your mates will follow suit. If you attach a suppressor, they'll attach a suppressor. If you crouch, they'll crouch too. You don't have to individually kit them out or direct their action at a granular level. Now, this game is not Splinter Cell, and each area inevitably turns into a war zone, but dropping a few dirtbags with a suppressed shot or two from your sneaky team feels mighty nice. Not as nice as inverted rappelling. Can I get an amen, Lord Jesus, now? Rappelling down the side of a building is already pretty rad, but flipping over to catch a better angle and a headshot is pure boner fuel, and it was hilarious in multiplayer. As much as I love the team dynamic, I will say that at times they can block you into small areas. Now it's easy enough to hit space and send them elsewhere, but I definitely bitched at my fake friends a few times, like any mature adult. It also annoyed me how many doors opened right into me, but that's a problem that goes back to old Rainbows too. Look, I'm really reaching for things to complain about, obviously, but I definitely bonked my fat Irish noodle on a few doors when trying to go fast. Another minor complaint while I'm riding the bitch train, I do wish enemies reacted a little more to damage. Now a headshot will instantly dump a tango, but sometimes you'll light their legs up as they run across the screen, and their stride isn't affected one bit. Again, nitpicking. Oh, and speaking of doorways, when you take cover near an open door, I love this, you can swing your body almost entirely around the frame and into the next room while remaining anchored in cover. It just feels so good. The weapon selection is solid, and it strikes a happy medium between just enough stuff without being overly complicated. Guns include LMGs like the Mark 46 and the MG36, sniper rifles like the Scout and the PSG-1.
You got a PSG-1?
You get 6 assault rifles, 4 shotguns, 6 pistols, and 6 submachine guns with extra dip. Again, in the days of modern Battlefield with 500 guns and 1,000 attachments, this may seem paltry, but there's plenty of variety, and you'll find your favorite combo pretty quickly. And more important than the quantity is the quality. Each weapon feels heavy and powerful. There isn't a dud in the bunch. And long before Blitz and his flash shield, we had our boy Logan in the bowels of a casino with his portable cover. Logan can also use night vision, which I have to say is ostensibly useless. Oh well. And if you're not digging your current loadout or the weapons being dropped by the bad guys, Ubi threw in some boxes around the map to respec your kit. I like the little detail that your refill limits are represented by a depleted ammo box. It's cute, you know? That's right, cute. And thankfully, it's not all about breaching or tactical moments. You'll have some of the over-the-top Hollywood action stuff as well. And as much as I enjoy games where each bullet counts, it's always fun to just unload ordnance like Arnie in the 80s. Also, Arnold stole the 1980 Olympia from Mike Menser because he was Joe Weider's butt dog, but that's just my opinion. I should also mention how shocked I was at how well this game ran out of the box, so to speak. There are a few audio bugs here and there, but a 20-year-old game working without a shitload of mods or fan patches was so refreshing. I didn't have any game-crashing bugs, nor did I freeze my desktop by alt-tabbing, unlike some games. Looking at you. So, what was Vegas multiplayer like?
Damn. Holy hell, kid.
Yeah, it was that good. Now, official servers were closed in 21, but you can still use peer-to-peer or Hamachi to get games going. And I did think about it, if for no other reason to record footage for the video, but quite frankly, those are some very happy memories, and I just kind of want to leave them like that. I think about those days as if they were printed on Polaroids, lightly faded by the sun, but with warm regard. But there is a mode that I could go back and play anytime, any day. Terrorist Hunt is the PvE mode. Just you or you and a friend versus a randomly placed group of bad guys scattered around a variety of maps. You pick a character, a loadout, your map, and the volume of bad guys you want to fight, as well as your difficulty. I love the maps in this mode. There's a great variety and a huge selection of entry points, multi-level buildings, doorways, stairwells, hallways, and rooms. In particular, I've always been such a massive fan of the university levels, the library and the campus at LVU. I was attending a university around the time that I was deep into Vegas, and to drop into these familiar places was such a blast. And this mode is difficult. Even on normal, it's extremely challenging, and really, the challenge is part of the allure. Being in the middle of an urgent reload, hearing one bad guy kicking in the door while another one shatters the window behind you, knowing that one round is lethal. At times it can feel like an honest-to-goodness horror game, really. I cannot tell you the amount of games I lost when I got comfortable and I got complacent. Then you go and load up another one. And thanks to difficulty options, the breadth and variety of maps, weapon combination possibilities, randomized enemy spawns, and the ability to select the volume of targets, Terrorist Hunt has that super addicting just one more round type of feeling, you know? It kept me and my friends up many nights back in ye olden days, and when I played it again recently to record footage, I played a lot more than I had intended to. It's just like that. So over the years, I've beaten Rainbow Six Vegas on the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the PC, but there's one version I had never tried until now. Oh yeah, I had to. Alright, so as you may suspect, the PSP version of Vegas, Little Vegas, is a pretty steep downgrade from the Big Brother version, but it's not a simple port either. The story here runs parallel to the Logan Keller plot, only now you're playing as a different Rainbow team in a different part of Vegas. Do you remember when I said Logan Keller was second place in the generic name contest? Well, you play as number 1 and 1A. Your team is Brian Armstrong and Sean Rivers. Jesus. Instead of having a full team, you play as one operator at a time, switching between Brian and Sean at predetermined points. It's actually a pretty clever workaround for the limitations of the PSP. You're still supported by Joanna in the helicopter, and oh boy, do they like to remind you of that. Jo constantly screams in your ear. In Big Vegas, she served as a way to update the player about the story and all that, but on the PSP, she'll blow out your eardrums every 20 seconds. It was exhausting. Every little thing. You'll drop a single bad guy, and it's Brian, status update. Ugh. And in Big Vegas, the shouting is usually okay because there's plenty of music, gunfire, and environmental noise, but in Little Vegas, everything is much quieter, and thus, Joe's voice screams past your Malleus, Incus, and Stapes like a missile with a vagina, which sounds like a sci-fi movie, actually.
Brian, Sean is in position. Sean, we reached several tangos in the garden. Report in, Brian. Brian, there was a silent alarm that got triggered somewhere in the villa. Sean, status. Brian, the garden is way too... Kara's is probably expecting us. You've got 3 tangos nearby. Heads up, guys. Our research indicates that Picaras rents hangar 18. Sean, sending coordinates now. Give me the hostile's location. Okay, team, new directive. Your good work, Brian. Now I need all the information about Morrison that you can find.
Anyway, you probably guessed, but the story in Little Vegas is about as silly as the Big Brother version. They mention Irina, but you're after some dude named Picares, I guess? You don't see him until the very end, and he's just some generic Mexican dude with a mustache. Like Mario's Mexican cousin, Barrio. Oh god, I'm sorry. Oh no, you can take the like button back if you want. But I will say, there is a moment near the end where, spoilers, Sean is killed in action while saving everyone else. He tells the team, hey, everything is okay over here, but then he goes out like a hero. I mean, I didn't burst into tears or anything, but it definitely caught me off guard. This game is maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours long, but it was a legitimate surprise to lose one of the characters you had been playing as. So hey, kudos to Ubisoft Quebec for actually trying something a little bolder than expected. So the big question, how does this thing play? Well, you can still equip a loadout before each mission, with Brian having a selection of automatics and subs, while Sean is the team's sniper, so he's limited to that. And of course, because you don't have a team, there are no breaching commands or anything like that. But the biggest difference is obviously going to be in the controls. The PSP only had a single joystick, that little nubby hockey puck thing. To turn and look around, you use the face buttons. Left bumper locks onto the bad guys, and you can snap to their heads with triangle. Right bumper fires. If you played first-person games on the N64, this will come right back to you. However, if you think 2015 was a long time ago, this might suck, to be honest. Look, I used to play Quake 3 on the Dreamcast, so this wasn't too weird for me, but it's impossible to be as good as a twin-stick gamepad, let alone mouse and keyboard. But as clunky as the controls are, locking and hitting a quick headshot is slick, and it felt pretty good. You can still snake cam doors and tag enemies, though I didn't really use it. There's also a quaint little lockpick and hacking system. Granted, they're just a single button hold, but you know. And hey, third-person cover is here. Just move towards a wall and you'll press up against it. It could have been omitted and you may not have even noticed, but the team in Quebec went that extra mile and it works pretty well. As I mentioned, the big hook is switching between the two operators. Now, it's usually, hey, I'm stuck, push a button for me, but then you'll have some pretty cool moments when you'll provide Overwatch with Sean's sniper rifle. The level geometry and textures are, of course, very limited, but I have a huge soft spot for PSP visuals. It's such a quirky middle ground between the PS1 and the PS2. Weapon models are smudged, but at least they're full. I half expected the on-screen reticle like the old Rainbow Six on PC and N64, but nope, full weapon models for each firearm. And I also appreciated the verticality of most levels as well. There are a few pre-rendered cutscenes like this little flyover of the strip. They're charming, you know, like, hey, they tried. Explosions look great, nice bright orange plumes of smoke and fire. Respect. Now, I figured you wouldn't be running down a fully rendered strip full of civilians, vehicles, and neon monuments, but I like how Ubisoft tried to pass off the Vegas illusion. You're in very condensed alleyways and offices, but you'll see the bits and pieces of neon in the outer bounds and a big landmark like the Strat Hotel Tower. Obviously with a UMD, you have to conserve where you can, but Quebec did well enough to emphasize that you're still on South Las Vegas Boulevard. Outside of the constant badgering by Joanna, there really isn't anything notable about the audio in Little Vegas. Weapon sounds are adequate, but certainly not a patch on Big Vegas. Brian and Sean's actors are about the same, you know, serviceable but not amazing. One last thing. Terrorist Hunt, or Taro Hunt, the friendlier name, I guess, is here. I mean, look at this. It's not very good, is it? No, no, it's not. Instead of the large, open-ended maps of Big Vegas, Little Vegas just recycles a handful of dull maps from the campaign. You pick from Sean or Brian only, you walk down some halls, pop, and that's about it. Perhaps I would have appreciated it back when I took the city bus to work every day. Then again, I would have never pulled out an expensive electronic device on that bus, so never mind. If you really yearn for FPS gameplay on the PSP, for whatever reason, this is available to you. Also, I saw that there was a competitive multiplayer component as well. I wasn't able to give it a go, but I watched this clip on YouTube from Angel Sports, posted in 2014, holy shit, and it looked decent. Nothing I'd, seek out, but once again, kudos to Ubisoft for including it. One thing PSP Vegas did have is the glorious return of Chin Cola. Chinny Cola, bitch! If you know, you know. I miss Splinter Cell a whole lot. I wish it would come back. Rainbow Six Vegas is a difficult game to talk about. The game itself isn't complicated, but it's got a lot of heavy nostalgia for me. Is the game still fun to play in 2026? Oh, absolutely. I had a really good time recording all this footage. Vegas is so easy to pick up and play and enjoy all these years later. There's just enough depth to experiment with different strategies without becoming too much of a granular tactical sim like a SWAT 4, for instance. And I love SWAT 4, but it's more than that. This was a game that I played right when it came out, and with so many different people in the few years that followed. I was a senior in high school in 06, oh yeah, and I took my 360 with me off to college. I had jock friends, frat brothers, and all manner of degenerates from the music world over to my first apartment in those days, and everyone loved playing a bit of split-screen Vegas. That, and we played a lot of Guitar Hero on a big-ass projector. You know, somewhere in this world is a Motorola Razr that has a grainy little video of me, buck naked, going hot on Bark at the Moon. Ooh, what a collector's item. Vegas was just one of those games, man. Everyone just seemed to enjoy it. You didn't have to be a hardcore gamer or whatever. You could just pick it up and learn how to play it. It was fun. Maybe I'll talk about Vegas 2 someday, which took everything that the first game did and went 3 times harder. I used to play it around the clock on the PS3, as well as my first gaming computer. I had a pretty sweet $5 wireless keyboard from Target, just saying. And yes, I did play Siege right when it came out. I still remember the very first round of Terrorist Hunt that I played with my little brother. I loved Siege until it turned to garbage, but it was a good time for many years. But Vegas just came out in that golden period. Not only was it at the start of the rest of my life, as it were, but it was a genuinely glorious time for video games too. 1998 to roughly 2015 may very well be the peak in my lifetime. The combination of rapidly expanding technology, bigger budgets, and the best and brightest minds in the business constantly trying to push not only the current envelope, but constantly giving us glimpses of the future as well. The games industry is in dire straits right now. Games don't live up to absurd sales expectations. Corporate executives fire everyone. Games sell insanely well, and corporate executives fire everyone, except themselves, of course. Computer parts are insanely expensive. Also, we can watch slop videos of Hulk Hogan dropping a big boot on Conor McGregor from a building-sized stack of Legos. Wow, thank God that exists. Also, a greedy few can soak up the green. You know, it's almost enough to make a fella fall out of love with this beautiful art form. And then I play a game like Rainbow Six Vegas, and I'm like, oh right, this hobby used to not routinely suck ass. So you have to keep the faith. If I've learned 2 things in the 20 years since Vegas came out, it's this. Number 1, never give up hope, even when things appear hopeless. And number 2, I still love boobs. Yeah.